My name is Nolan. I was very fortunate and lucky to be brought here today to speak with each of you. I'm from Seattle, Washington, in the United States. Before I get started with my presentation, I just wanted to say thank you to the Eurocature team for bringing me out here to speak to you. It is a true honor, a true pleasure to speak with such prestigious, amazing artists from all over Europe. I'm very excited to share some of my life with you, and I'm extremely excited to share a lot of the fun projects that I have planned for not only myself and my business, but for the caricature community worldwide. If you don't mind, we'll start recording anytime.
It's already running.
Oh, beautiful. Hi, world. Okay, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have lots of very cheesy graphics for my presentation that I'm sure will knock your socks off. George Lucas would cringe. Leading the new ISCA, or World Drawn Together. I'm going to get into ISCA a little bit later in the presentation, but ISCA stands for the International Society of Caricature Artists, for those of you that aren't familiar. But starting off, we're going to talk a little bit about myself, and then we're going to kind of go into that world a little bit further in the presentation. A little about me. Yeah. Very nice graphics, let me tell you. I got my start drawing caricatures in a theme park in Ohio. It's a very popular state in the United States. There are a lot of theme parks, zoos, tourist destinations, mainly because there is nothing else to do. So there's a very high concentration of caricature artists in the state of Ohio. Vienna, Vienna has a large assortment of caricature artists. I would stretch to say that Ohio has roughly 70 to 80 professional caricature artists that draw year-round. It's very saturated. I got my start in a theme park, as many American caricature artists do. I drew retail caricatures of theme park guests as they would come in and with their families and whatnot. And that's how I met a network of amazing artists, and that's also how I grew and stretched my abilities. This is, yeah, whoa. So do you guys recognize that guy? Yeah, brother. For a small period of time, I was Hulk Hogan's tag team partner. That's right. I did a lot of design work for the Hulkster, and this was kind of in between. I took a little time off from caricatures to focus on design and illustration, and through the grapevine, Hulk Hogan saw a caricature I drew of him, and he contacted me, and we started a relationship designing t-shirts for him. Let me tell you, he is as crazy in real life as he is on TV. It's just no stretch. No stretch at all. Whoa! Yeah, I had better hair day today. But that's me and my business partner. His name's Dexter Rothschild. I moved out to beautiful Seattle, Washington in 2010. I used to work in the corporate world, managing artists, training artists, giving them the fundamentals to be successful in life as well as in art. And I left the corporate world in 2010 to start my own business with this guy right here. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but first I have a fun video for you. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video. It's about 5 minutes. I hope you enjoy. It's going to give you a little more insight into my business and all the wonderful things we do out in Seattle to help push our business forward and to make sure that a lot of the artists that work for us are as successful as they can possibly be. So moving along. My business is called Over the Line Arts. We are an art entertainment company in Seattle, Washington. We provide caricatures, we provide airbrush t-shirts and apparel. We also provide face painting for tourists and locals all throughout the Pacific Northwest. The Pacific Northwest is the state of Washington where I live. Right now, at the moment, we have 14 caricature artists that work for us in varying degrees. A lot of the caricature artists that work for me are considered retail caricaturists, which means that they set up at events. We have a couple retail stands as well. One is at the Space Needle. You guys know the Space Needle, yes? Yeah. You don't know the Space Needle, I'll show you a photo later. It's pretty cool. But we have a couple retail stands where they draw all summer long, and then we also do entertainment at parties and events. Our clients range from Microsoft to Amazon to Google, a lot of the high-end tech companies, as well as birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, and no funerals yet, but we're still trying to, maybe one day we'll get into one of those. But these are a lot of the handsome fellows that work for me. So, retail lifestyle caricatures. I'm sure many of you have been around the block and you've seen the gentlemen that set up on the street corner, or they set up at the local park and draw people. A lot of these artists don't particularly push their abilities, their exaggeration, their likeness. They kind of stick to the norm. Our artists, we try to promote a much different environment. We actually try to have them challenge themselves and maintain great likeness while still exaggerating and rendering to the best of their ability in the span of 10 minutes. So these are a few examples of my pieces that I do in a retail environment. I don't know if you've seen the movie Army of Darkness or Evil Dead. This young man wanted to be Ash from the Evil Dead. That's a very handsome fellow. That's not Hulk Hogan, but he did have the same style of mustache. So we do black and white as well as color. Black and white averages between 5 to 7 minutes per person. We are drawing these with marker, and I actually did bring a few of the markers with me to actually give as gifts. I have 6 of them, so don't get too greedy. But they're really nice markers. You get a varied line with these markers. You can get thick lines, you can get thin lines. You can really vary your strokes, and they're wonderful markers. So we do them in marker for black and white drawings. We offer color as well, which we do with a wax stick made by Prismacolor called a color stick. You'll never believe what he did. He turned it off and he turned it on. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so moving along. Where were we? We were on... Okay, so here are a few more examples of my live caricature work. Like I said, the black and white takes about 5 to 6 minutes. Color takes between 8 and 10 minutes. I like to spend a little more time on my drawings depending on the level of exaggeration. But as you can see, these do vary from less exaggerated to more exaggerated. Just a few more examples here. Sometimes I like to play around with a more cartoony style and really vary my lines. Whoops. Pardon me. iPads are wonderful. I'm just going to connect to the Wi-Fi because I do have another video that I think will work. Okay, anyways, back in here. So these markers, as you can see, they really do have a very varied line set. You can get really thick lines like this right here, and with the same tip, you can get very nice thin lines and everything that lies in between. This guy was really happy to get drawn. He kept that face the entire time. It was ridiculous. Real macho guy, you know, just wanted to... Now this is one of the more fun drawings I did. This was at a summertime cookout. And you know, sometimes you see a face that just really stands out to you and you just want to have fun. And that's exactly what I did with this gentleman. So now that I'm on the Wi-Fi, I'm going to give YouTube one last chance to play a video, okay? This is very much in the vein of Bruce's video. He did a time lapse. This is a time lapse as well. I did this in a live setting. It's not one of my more exaggerated caricatures, but it's a very good likeness. So if you guys watch, enjoy, and I'll jump. is now I know I can actually play my other video. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go back just a little bit here. And I'm going to play the other video, because who knows what could happen in the next 10 minutes. So, let me hop in here. Blah, 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 blah. Enough about me, enough about that. I do love that crumbling effect, though. That's really fun. Oh, wait. All right, here we go. Here's the video about my business over the line art. Enjoy. Isn't it good? Here we go.
Caricatures. It's been around for hundreds of years, and it was actually coined by Leonardo da Vinci. He called it Caricature in Italian, and it means loaded portrait.
This is my business partner.
Guy. He's always my favorite Renaissance artist, and I knew this the moment I saw his sketchbooks. He used to just go to bars and exaggerate people's faces at bars.
Caricature has definitely evolved in many ways over the past decade. When Dexter and I first started doing caricatures, it was all very traditionally based. You know, you would pull
So
the nose
handsome.
a little bit, make your chin a little bigger, forehead a little bigger, ears big, and then you would call it a day. And caricatures were very much limited to just the theme park industry and, you know, the guys at the waterfront that were doing it for tips. I feel like
I apologize,
the
it's
art form has
pixelated.
evolved to a point where everyone is less afraid to put their own unique spin, or even redefining what they feel a caricature is.
There's so many tools to do caricatures with. Markers, color sticks, watercolors, paint brushes, and the accessibility of creating digital artwork is amazing. And it's growing the craft even more in new directions.
And now with the advent of tablet technology, it's limitless. You can do anything.
The first event I did with digital caricatures was a Microsoft event. And from there, it just exploded. And we did an event with Google, and we worked out all the kinks to make digital caricatures happen. And we loved every minute of it, drawing nonstop, testing it out. And we felt like being a pioneer.
I've done events for Microsoft, Corey, Intel, Dell, all these major tech companies. And every single time I do an event with these guys, they're just completely enamored in what I'm doing. It's just so beyond them, you know, because they're all left-brained. You know, they're very analytical, they deal with code all day. And as soon as they see a guy like creating a cool cartoon on a tablet PC with all the stuff that they helped develop, they're just like, you know, their minds are just blown. I have drawn, I'd almost stretch to say at least 500,000 faces. And with each face you draw, there is some limited interaction. I'm not just some guy sitting there staring at you and drawing you. I'm actually talking to you. I'm trying to find out your quirks, your traits, things about your face that really help you stand out.
Being able to read what somebody's thinking, or at least the emotion they're experiencing, gives us that opportunity to change that emotion if we want to. So a lot of
She's
people,
obviously from Vienna.
just worrying about how people perceive them, not being able to read what other people think or what other people feel, really. We have the ability to change it. Everybody has the ability to change other people's emotions. But having the sense of reading other people's emotions can certainly give you an advantage in life.
My happiness now comes from passing happiness to other people. Knowing that we are giving artists an opportunity to do what they love and to make a living off of that's the ultimate sign of happiness for me, man. Yeah, so I'm definitely happy. Yeah, no complaints here, man.
A lot of times I feel like a mentor and a teacher, and I really want to get guys from point A to point B, and that's how I see my role and what I bring to overall art. I feel like I have such a connection with Seattle, and it really has provided me with a living and a passion for life. And given
Big
to me,
deal.
and now I feel like I want to get back.
All right, so thanks, you two. So that was a little bit about my business over the line art out in Seattle. We were very fortunate to meet some people that saw that we were making a bit of a scene in the entertainment industry out there, and they were very nice enough to produce a video for Microsoft. We have 2 videos, one where we talk about our digital services, and then one where we talk about our business. So anyways, digital caricature. So I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but I actually got my start with digital caricatures on an iPad, and I became pretty well known for producing a bunch of different tutorial videos, helping instruct artists on how to draw with an iPad. If you have any of the apps, there's the Art Studio Drawing app where a few of my videos are featured, and then I believe on Procreate's network, or Sketch Club's network, I'm sorry, Sketch Club's network, they have a few of my videos as well. So these were all iPad caricatures that, you know, some of the ones that I really liked. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of zombie caricatures, but in the States that's a bit of a sensation. So, I love zombies. So, we also draw dogs, we don't discriminate. Oh, that guy is just, oh man, oh, I wish you could meet that guy. So once I got my start with iPad caricatures, I decided to go out into the world of live entertainment drawing with digital. This was taken, I believe, in 2011, one of my first events utilizing an iPad. They had this wonderful projector for me. It was a really great experience. But drawing with an iPad, there were a lot of limitations, especially in the live field. So I think drawing on an iPad really prepared me for a lot of the crazy technical things that can happen, which still do apparently. And it also helped me prepare myself for doing digital characters on a Cintiq Companion, which is what I'm doing it on right there. This was an event for Dell in beautiful Texas. Dallas, Texas. So, I started to really hit the scene pretty hard with my live digital in 2012. These are a few examples. This was an amazing environment. This was in Atlanta, Georgia, and the screen that they mirrored my drawings onto was 70 inches. It was massive. But I would love to draw on this screen. This one's pretty nice too. So these are a few that were drawn in Atlanta, Georgia. This one was in Dallas, Texas. That man had one of the most amazing beards I've ever seen. That was in New York City. That was for a Google event, which was really fun because they wanted to have you heard of the American TV show Mad Men? So they wanted to do a Mad Men theme. So if you actually take a closer look, and it's hard to see from there, this is actually done with, you guys remember screen tones from back in the 50s and 60s? This was a screen tone filter, and then we made the entire template look like it was from the 1960s. It was really fun.
But these not made on the iPad?
No, these are all Companion right now.
Companion.
Yeah, those are Companion. I am not ashamed to say that many of my live iPad drawings, for lack of a better term, look like shit. People had a lot of fun, you know, but once the Companion hit the scene, it was much easier for me to actually portray my true style, my true live style. Most of these, the color drawings took about 7 minutes, and then the black and white one there took about 4 minutes. So these are some examples of my, these are actually more of my commission style. I was heavily influenced by animation and comic books. So a lot of the colors you're going to see and a lot of the style you're going to see is heavily influenced by the things I grew up on that I really learned to love. Sometimes I'll go a little more gooey and I will push the shapes a little bit more, and I'll have a lot more fun with abstraction and with exaggeration. Sometimes I'll keep it more simplistic, but the main goal every time is to grab likeness. This one, I don't know if you guys know Steve Hearn from the United Kingdom, but he used to be president of the organization I'm currently president of, ISCA. Yeah, it wasn't hard to have fun with her. This is a really fun thing, just to give you a few ideas. I'm not sure if you do many wedding caricatures in Vienna or in Austria, but one thing that I've been doing lately that's been hugely successful is I will draw the couple and then I will have the wedding guests sign the matting with a silver pen or a gold pen. And the results have been amazing. Every event that I've done this at, people just absolutely love it. Sometimes they don't even use a guest book anymore. They'll just have the caricature on display for people to sign. And it works out really well. So this is a little bit about my process. Now this is not for my live drawings. I do not use this process for live drawings. But when I do my commissions, I always start off with a rough sketch, as many of you do. I lay the inks in, and then what I do is there's actually a function in Photoshop. It's a mask feature where I can apply a gradient or a color to my line work. I have become really fond of applying gradients to my lines to vary the color profile. So in this particular one, I don't know if you can see it, but I start with the maroon on the top. I get more towards a deep red in the middle, and then I push it down to a bluish purple on the bottom. Then I apply my base layer of color. Then I block in all of the shading. I utilize a multiple layer below or above the base color. And then the final touch is right there. And this is the guy I drew. Really fun face. Love his smile. What's that?
You do this in Photoshop?
So actually my technique's a little strange. I use two different programs. I utilize all my inks in Sketchbook Pro by Autodesk, which you can purchase for, I think, 60 euros out here. And then all my colors are in Photoshop. I found that the line work on Sketchbook Pro in particular is very much in line with what I like. It's much cleaner. Photoshop, I've had a few problems with it, but I utilize it mostly for color. Did I mention Hulk Hogan was my tag team partner? Here are a few examples of the t-shirts that I've done for him. This is one for his beach shop out in Clearwater, Florida. That's also used as a sign for his beach shop. There's a massive sign that they have where he's giving a big flex, and then it's got everything below it. And then this one is one that was widely seen in the United States. He wore this to television events and live events. He just wanted a very simple icon utilizing his face, but incorporating it somehow into an H. So this was the original design, and then as we as artists usually know, sometimes when you do design work, a few modifications are made. He did some modifications to the bottom, and then he added in a little bit to his do-rag. But it's fine. I still got paid for it, so. And I get free wrestling tickets all the time. That's the best. Okay, so you guys have heard a little bit about my business and my technique and entertainment, this, that, and the other thing. I am an individual that just loves challenges. I love doing new things. I love exploring new fields. And what I'm going to talk about with you guys now is this image that you see on my shirt here. I want to talk to you about the International Society of Caricature Artists and what I and the board that I serve with are trying to do to help the caricature culture, not only in the States, but around the world. This is my favorite graphic. Oh, yeah. I should have said drum roll, please. Dang it. So ISCA, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about ISCA. This is our brand new logo. We just had it designed a few months ago. A little history about our organization. It was originally founded as the National Caricature Network in 1989 by a man named Buddy Rose, who recently passed away, rest in peace. It started out as just being a club for American caricature artists to hang out, to talk about what they do for a living. A lot of these guys are illustrators, but they're also retail artists. It's a very broad mix and hodgepodge of different types of artists. But it started out as just being like, hey, welcome to the club. Let's have some fun. Let's do some drinking. Not very different than here, actually. They didn't have live feeds back then, thank goodness, because I don't know if people wanted to see the stuff they were doing. It started out as a union to protect caricature artists in the U.S. A lot of, as I'm sure many of you know, in the professional world, sometimes we're put into positions where we don't have the protection we need to protect our artwork or to protect ourselves financially. One thing they did with ISCA, or I'm sorry, with the NCN, was they started to create set contracts for many of the artists to share with the clients to protect them. They also discussed rates, making sure nobody was undercutting, other artists, trying to keep things really unified. They held their first convention in Cozumel, Mexico in 1992, which I'm sure that was one hell of a party. This is an image from last year's convention in Reno, Nevada. We had 216 attendees. This is an example of what our live party competition looks like, where we have artists pretty much reenact a party environment. So the NCN became a nonprofit in 1995. It quit being a club and they opened up their membership to people from all over the globe. That's when things really started to take off. And then in 2009, we decided to embrace the international aspect and we became the International Society of Caricature Artists. Right now, we have 400 members from all over the world. We have members from Korea, we have members from Japan, a lot of members from Japan. We have a few from South America, we have a few from Vienna, as a matter of fact. But we aim to grow that to an unprecedented level in the next couple years. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the changes that have taken place. Some of these changes might actually get you pretty interested in possibly joining if you want. The original ISCA, that's our snazzy logo from, we've had that logo since 2009. We recently updated it. But the original ISCA, we had an online forum where artists could actually go onto the forum. They could interact with each other, they could have contests, they could talk about their experiences in the field. It was a pretty cool thing, but now forums aren't utilized nearly as much, so we've made a few transitions. You would get 4 magazines, which all of you, did everybody get a magazine yesterday? I went around and handed them out. Okay, great. They're very popular. I only have 2 left, so yeah. If anybody wants one, they can come over to the table and grab them. We have a website, caricature.org. Every artist, should they choose to, can have a featured profile, which helps them be found by agencies or by people that would like to hire them for commissions or for entertainment. And then the convention, which is the big one, which I'll go into a little bit later. The new ISCA, we decided to change our logo to make it feel a little more global, more simplistic. This is what we have now. We've got access to Facebook groups that are closed. These are Facebook groups that only members can be a part of. We have one where you can talk to your fellow members, talk about your scenarios and parties or with commissions, or just share the things that you're working on. We have a contest, much like Caricaturama, where you actually, instead of drawing celebrities, you draw your fellow members, and each winner is entered into a contest where they can win a free 1-year membership. We have 4 interactive magazines. We just started doing interactive magazines with interactive links. Okay, so 2 of those magazines, well actually 4 of them are still released digitally on our website, but 2 of them are also printed, much like the ones that you guys have in front of you. Those are our pre-convention issues and our post-convention issues. The interactive magazines are so cool. The beautiful thing about this is we have exclusive videos that only ISCA members can view. In our most recent issue, we had a trailer for a caricature documentary that's going to be released next year. We have interactive links. We have all kinds of amazing content that we hope to increase as each issue comes out. You still get a featured profile on the website, access to exclusive video content on our YouTube channel. ISCA is currently all over social media. We've got a YouTube channel, we have an Instagram, we have a LinkedIn, blah, 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 blah. But if you guys need content, if you guys want to learn or view tutorials, if you want to see seminars from past conventions, you can go to our YouTube channel and you guys have access to watch them. And this is something that's available to everyone, not just members. We do have exclusive video content for members, but anyone can go to our YouTube channel and view our videos. And then most importantly, access to the ISCA convention. So, this cool graphic here, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't make anyone go deaf when I did that. That was pretty harsh. We have lots of content that is available currently to members. We have 2 podcasts. One podcast is done by one of our members. It's called It's Supposed to Be Funny. You can actually subscribe to it on iTunes. It's very much about the world of retail caricatures in the United States. Some of the stuff might be over people's heads, but a lot of it ultimately is very funny. They go into caricature history a little bit. They talk about awful clients and all kinds of stuff. And there's no filter. There's a lot of profanity. So you guys might enjoy it. The ISCast is my podcast. I do it every 2 weeks on SoundCloud, which, well, as the YouTube channel, the podcasts are available to non-members as well. On the ISCast, I interview caricature artists that are professionals in the field. I have a wonderful interview with an artist named Joe Bloom that I'm sure most of you know of, and as well as other artists that are in the field that I've grown to know over the past few years. Once again, on Facebook, if you are a member, you can network with fellow members on our Facebook group. We do have a monthly workshop where we have 4 different subjects where you can actually go into the workshop and you can use the photo reference provided, and you can interact with other artists and get really great critiques, and you can help grow your skill set directly with some professionals in the field. Our bi-weekly contest is really fun. You have an opportunity to draw fellow members, and you get to see how everyone else interprets them. It's very much the online version of what our caricature convention is. If you guys have Instagram, follow us. We got lots of great stuff to show, lots of great stuff to share. If you want to see what's going on in the world of caricatures, not just what's going on out here, but what's going on everywhere, go to our Instagram. It's great for that. And then once again, YouTube channel, it's wonderful. A world drawn together. So that is our new tagline for ISCA, a world drawn together. Mainly because we want to push the international aspect even further as we go into the future. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the events we have all across the globe where artists can get together and hang out and have a good time. I'm going to talk a little bit about our ISCA chapters. So currently, we have the European chapter, which Mr. Marcel Bender back there is president of. We have a Korean chapter, a chapter in Singapore, and a chapter in Japan. Each one of these chapters, every year or so, they choose to have what's called a mini-con, which is not very different from this environment right here. The mini-cons range depending on where it is. Many people have different things they want to do, so we just say do whatever you can to make it fun. But the main goal is for us to get new members. You know, we want to spread the love. So this was the most recent mini-con. This was in Singapore, and it just took place last week. They had 44 attendees. They created a ton of amazing artwork. They had awards ceremonies. They had all kinds of different things they handed out, and it was a huge success. So we're very proud of our neighbors in Singapore and what they were able to accomplish. And that's their fancy logo. One reason we did a redesign for ISCA is we wanted to be more inclusive, and we wanted to make sure each chapter had their own individual logo that they can be proud of. This one's right around the corner, and it's not too far from you. This is the ISCA Mini-Con in Frankfurt. There's all the information right there. It's going to be held in August. It's going to be at Hotel Colt, and I would urge all of you to go check it out. I'm sure it's going to be a really fun time. So yeah, please do. All the information's right down there. If you need more information, please talk to Marcel. I'm sure he'd be very happy to share it with you. And there's the snazzy European logo. We're going to have a mini-con on an island. It's called Jeju. It's in Korea. And this mini-con will be taking place next year, June 2016. This mini-con is limited to 50 seats. So if any of you would like to attend, feel free to contact me. I'm going to give everyone my contact information. I can definitely get you more info about this convention, but it should be a really fun time. And one thing I want to make very clear, all of these mini-cons, you do not have to be an ISCA member to attend. All right, it's sponsored by ISCA, but if you want to go to a mini-con, you're more than welcome to. You just need to make sure you contact the president, the chapter president, and they will get all the arrangements worked out for you. If you choose to join at the mini-con or after the mini-con, it'll work out really well for you, because while the mini-cons are fun, the big convention is really where it's at. So what I'm going to do is go into a little bit of the history of ISCA conventions. So at ISCA, we have amazing seminars. We range the seminars from digital workshops where you can actually watch an artist draw live digital caricatures. We have amazing workshops from so many talented artists, illustrators, animators, people that illustrate books. Really, really great seminars, and they're very, very well attended and extremely educational. That's actually our chapter president in Korea. His name's Kamal. This is the ballroom. This was the ballroom last year in Reno. Imagine 200 caricature artists from all over the world working 24 hours over the span of 4 days. It is insane. It is hot. It is stinky. but the artwork that is produced is truly inspiring. We have an allotted wall space for every member. So if you attend a convention, you get your own small gallery where you can put your artwork up for everyone to enjoy. These are a few photos from past conventions. This strange-looking award here, that's not a Vienna, that's not a Wurst, that's a nose. It's called the Nosy. The top 3 caricature artists that win the top 3 best caricature artists for that particular year take home a bronze, a silver, and a gold Nosy. And the gold Nosy is quite impressive and extremely heavy. So I've seen a few people drop it because they just couldn't handle it. This was actually an amazing, so one year we had a sculptor, his name is David O'Keefe. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. I believe this was in 2006, and I had to include this Bill Murray because it's truly impressive. It is a life-size maquette or bust, and has real hair, the whole 9 yards. And it's even got a real t-shirt on it. It's so cool. But this is the kind of stuff you'll see at an ISCA convention from year to year. This is Johanna Vierenhoy from the Netherlands. She is a 3D caricature artist working, I don't know if you can see this. This is actually an American billionaire named Donald Trump. You know, you're fired. Yeah, The Apprentice? Okay, there we go. But she's working on some pieces. That's actually her portfolio piece. We have a portfolio competition where you can show off your best works. Once again, this is a David O'Keefe original of Joe Bloom. We have an auction every year, and at this auction, this provides each artist an opportunity to bid on a piece of art by one of their heroes or idols. One year, Joe Bloom, he bid on this sculpture for $1,500 American. And then this is the next year when the sculpture was presented to him. Have you guys heard of the book Rejects?
Yes.
Yeah? So it's a very popular book out in the States. He's actually wearing a Rejects t-shirt. It's like a real t-shirt that David O'Keefe actually printed and put on there. This is one of the walls from the convention. This is by an artist named Christopher Rommel. I believe this was done in 2006. But every artist gets their own wall space. And what you choose to do with your wall space, that's your choice. You can have, some artists go crazy and they'll put 30 pieces up. They'll bring a ladder in and they'll actually keep going up, which is why we need lower ceilings, because some of these people go crazy. And then some artists will have a couple really good, highly rendered paintings or pieces. But this is Chris Rommel's wall. He actually won the Gold Nosy that year for that wall. It was a very impressive wall. He did a great job. And that's the Gold Nosy. You guys actually had a few Gold Nosy winners speak at this event over the past few years. Jason Seiler is one, Court Jones is another, and Jan Octebik, he is actually an honorary Nosy winner because he has been so giving and great for our organization. We decided, we actually coined the phrase master artist. Now we call them former Nosy winners. But Jan Octebik became an honorary master artist with ISCA. More cool graphics. This is the top prize in the industry, the Gold Nosy. You know, in the world of caricatures, there was never an award that was created to really honor the best of that given year. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best artists that year in the entire world of caricature artists, but for this shining moment, for this 1 week, they were the top star in the caricature industry at the convention. And it's a great accolade to have. It's a great thing to add to your pedestal. It's a great thing to promote that you were the top caricature artist for that given year. So it's something that every artist at the convention aspires to. All 200 or so attendees, this is what they're all shooting for. They all want to be the best of that given year. And depending on how people vote, it's definitely a distinct possibility. It's that thing right there. I don't know what the equivalent to 20 pounds is out here, but it's close to 20 pounds. Extremely heavy. All right, so the convention experience. Here are some of the things you can expect if you attend the convention. We have hours of live seminars. Last year we had so many seminars, it drove some people nuts because they didn't have enough of a chance to draw. This year we're going to tone it down a little bit, but we've had seminars by amazing guest speakers. We had John Cash, we had, oh God, so many amazing people. David O'Keefe, last year we had Sebastian Kruger. So we do have a lot of wonderful presenters, and they do such a great job for us. We have a competition called the Art Fight. The very first day, we drink, we eat, and we get crazy, all right? We have a live competition where a certain amount of artists are able to participate, and they draw things right in front of you. You throw out a subject matter, and they have to portray it as quickly as possible in the best possible fashion. The winner of this competition gets a really cool belt, like a wrestling belt. It's awesome. You'll see a photo of last year's winner in a little bit. You have 24 access to our ballroom, attended by over 200 caricature artists. There's a VIP event, so we have two different types. Well, actually, we have three different types of memberships. The highest tier of member is called a gold member. A gold member is able to attend a VIP event where they can watch a live demonstration by the guest of honor. They get to, get a few drinks as well. Last year, Sebastian Kruger gave an amazing live demonstration where he drew Keith Richards, and he also drew this amazingly rendered skull. Both of those items went to auction. The skull sold for $1,200 American, and the Keith Richards sold for $4,000 American. And I'm the proud owner of it.
Did he do acrylics, or did he just, was it drawing?
Surprisingly enough, he was very open to the method, and due to time constraints, we gave him some markers. Grayscale markers, I believe there were warm gray tone chart pack markers, and he went wild. And I'll actually show you the drawings that he did. They're absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, he used markers, and he actually signed the marker boxes, and we auctioned those off as well. We do have an award gala dinner and auction. Like I said before, the auction is a great opportunity for attendees to purchase a piece by one of their idols or someone that they truly admire. Barrett in the back there, he purchased a beautiful Martin Scorsese drawing by an American artist named Brian Oakes, and there were many other pieces that were purchased. It's a great way to help support ISCA and support the artists as well. We give the artists a cut of everything, and then ISCA takes a cut to help produce better conventions. Last year, Sebastian Kruger was gracious enough to give us 100% of the proceeds from his artwork and prints that he supplied. So Kruger alone helped us make $6,000 for our organization, which we're currently utilizing to make it better and bigger. The award gala is really snazzy. We have an amazing dinner buffet. We have an awards ceremony. Everyone dresses up to the nines. They're all wearing their suits, or the ladies are wearing their dresses. And the Japanese ladies are wearing their kimonos. It's really cool. Really fun event. And then after that, we just get crazy. We get really crazy. These are a few of the award categories along with some examples. One of the categories is black and white technique. This was actually done vellum board, chipping away at vellum print block. Yeah, look at that. We didn't really do that to the actual piece, I promise. Color technique. This is a Japanese artist. She's not necessarily caricature, but she does exaggerate a little bit. Her color technique is off the charts. She does these amazing, beautiful watercolor drawings, and she takes home quite a few awards every year. We have body situation, which is kind of, you draw the full body. If someone's really frumpy, you really exaggerate that. This year we're actually going to have a seminar. None of our members know about this yet, but we're going to have an exaggerated life drawing class where we're going to bring in a few nude models, and we're going to just exaggerate, because caricature is so much more than just the face. It's everything. You kind of want to get in there. This is an example of most exaggerated. This is one of our Japanese artists. Yeah, he actually, I believe the man that drew this, his name is Toru Tanaka, and he won our top prize last year. And if any of you want to see his drawings from this past year, they are out there. They are the things that nightmares are made of. They truly are. But they're so beautiful. Abstract design. 3D, which can be sculptures, it can be paper sculptures, actual sculptures. This was done by an American artist who's taken home quite a few first place awards. Her name is Stacy Pierce, and she does one piece every year, and she usually does fairly well. Best studio piece, which that would be the equivalent of the illustration pieces, we'll be featuring at the gallery. Those do not need to be done at the convention. Everything else has to be done at the convention. But there are two categories where you do not have to do the pieces at the convention. Best portfolio. You guys know Marvin Lorenz. He won, I believe, first place 2 years ago. He had just a knockout portfolio. This year, the winner of Best Portfolio gets to illustrate a cover of our magazine. So that last year it was an artist named Rob Wren, and he actually illustrated the cover for the most recent issue of Exaggerated Features. I know it's kind of sick seeing all these pieces of art go up in flames. I really should have thought this through a little bit better. We have Fastest Caricaturist, where it's the person that can complete the most sellable drawings in the span of 5 minutes. Best Likeness from Slides. This one is really, really fun. We actually have every artist come in to a ballroom. We have a huge projector. We'll project different photos of different subjects. They have 10 minutes to complete a drawing of each photo, and then we hang them all up together on a wall. It's the same person interpreted hundreds of different ways. Here's an example from this past year. We had this really, really elderly man. I think he was in his maybe 80s or 90s. And one person actually drew him like melting, like a wax candle. And it really depends on what your definition of likeness is. You know, many people have different ideas of what a likeness is. You know, it could be the drawing that looks most like the person, or the drawing that feels the most like the person. And whoever wins this award, it's usually a broad mix. You know, you'll get something that looks just like the person, or you'll get a drawing that just feels like the essence of that individual. Up in Flames. Best Live Party Retail Style, which is one of the photos I showed earlier. That is last year's Art Fight champion. He's actually a really renowned digital comic artist in the United States. His name is Lar D'Souza. He goes to comic conventions all over the country to promote his comic book, or his digital comic, I apologize. But he won this past year. This is the Art Fight Championship belt. And I guess you could say I'm the Art Fight commissioner. I'm like the Vince McMahon of art fights. This again is an example of the live party competition. We usually have 40 artists at a time, and then all the artists will line up and get drawn, and it's a really fun environment. Lots of drinking involved there. This is a better shot of the actual ballroom. As you can see, there are all these little spaces up here. Each artist gets their own number that represents them. The reason we do numbers is so there's no favoritism being shown. Obviously, people do understand whose style is who, but we try to keep things as nonpartisan as possible. But this is an example of the ballroom. And these are the award winners from this past year. These are the top 10 caricature artists for the convention. We had a first-time attendee all the way from Mongolia. His name is Ganbatar Choimbol, and he's about this tall, had a ponytail, wore the leather jacket every day, and he drew some of the most amazing Ralph Steadman-esque drawings you've ever seen. They were absolutely gorgeous. He actually drew more than he could put up on his wall, so he had to actually take a few down. But he won 4th place this past year. 2 Japanese artists won the top 2, and then an American artist won the bronze. So that kind of goes into this year's ISCA convention. Boom! I love that one. Oh, it was so pointless to put in, but I had to put it in. These are a few of our guest speakers for this year's convention. A few of them you already know of and have already seen, but we're very excited to have them. First one, of course, Mr. Jason Seiler. We're very, very excited to have Jason. Jason's actually our guest of honor. He's creating his own custom award that's illustration-based. Our theme for this year is illustration. Last year was careers where caricatures can take you. This year is illustration. And next year, who knows? I was thinking maybe a European invasion. I don't know. We'll see. We have Chris Payne, or CF Payne, very well-known American illustrator. And then we're bringing in a young gun by the name of Torin Thomas, who has done some of the most amazingly rendered digital paintings I've seen in a long time. I highly recommend you look him up. He's drawn so many different celebrities. He did a lot of hip hop pieces by different rappers, hip hop artists. He also did a really amazing Breaking Bad collage piece that just blew my mind. Or actually, it was Better Call Saul. That's what it was. So those are our three main guys, and we'll have a variety of different seminars by other renowned artists. This is our little ad. We hope to see you in November. It'd be really nice to have a few more European representatives in our wonderful country. Where can you get more information? I'll tell you where. As you guys know, we have a magazine. This is the first interactive issue of Exaggerated Features. This ugly guy right here, I don't know if you recognize him, that's me. These are the other board members. We're unveiling the new ISCA logo and the new ISCA message. We just recently redesigned the entire magazine from the ground up to give it a much more modern look. This is also the very first interactive issue, which is great because instead of me loading up my suitcase with tons of magazines, you guys can each get one via email. So each of you are going to receive a free issue of our interactive magazine. This is something that only ISCA members get, so I hope you guys enjoy it. There's a lot of really cool stuff, really awesome links. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand around a piece of paper for you guys to put your email addresses on, and what I'll do is I will make sure to email you guys each a link. It's a Dropbox link to the full issue. And if you are interested in joining ISCA, go to this website right here. We have 3 different types of memberships. We have an associate membership. The associate membership is $65, or $60, I'm sorry. It's a little limited. It only gives you a couple issues of the magazine and then access to the website. Professional memberships are $85 American dollars. That gets you 4 issues of the magazine, full access to all of our Facebook groups, and all the incentives that come with a membership. And if you just want to give a little bit more, become a gold member. It's $100. We're actually going to be pushing it up to $120 in the next month or so. So it'd be a good opportunity to get in there and represent yourself and as a professional or a gold member. And that's pretty much it there, guys. I'm more than happy to answer any questions people might have. That's what I'm here for. Still have a little extra time here. So if anybody has any questions, fire away. Yes?
In the first part of the conference, you were talking about live events.
Yes?
I realized that you don't sketch. You just start with the marker and go like downwards.
Yes.
Do you sketch in your head, or how does it work?
It really depends on the subject. So this example that I did show here, this had a complete absence of an underdrawing. There are a few occasions, usually in the presence of someone where I really want to exaggerate more. I will do a small undersketch where I lay out the shapes. Just case in point, I'll give you an example. Oops. So if we go back here, this gentleman right here, undersketch all the way, because there's complex shapes going on there, and it's very difficult to do that just off the top of your head. Now that's not to say people can't do it. We usually promote that you just draw like that, but if you're truly inspired by an individual, and we all know that there's tons of faces out there that inspire us more than others, we will do a small undersketch. But in the instance of the video you saw, that was just off the top of my head. I just kind of went with the flow. Anyone else? Yes?
Did you ever try Sharpies?
Sharpies, during the inception of my caricature career, I did try Sharpies, but I could not get a good enough range of line.
Okay.
And they smell funny.
Okay.
They do. No, Sharpies, there are people in the industry that use Sharpies. There are people that use Crayola markers, believe it or not, and they'll actually refill the Crayola markers. Some of you might actually have an issue of Exaggerated Features where he teaches you how to refill a Crayola marker in one of our articles. But I started out using a marker called a Dixon, or not a Dixon Marquette, it was called a design marker. It got discontinued. Then the Dixon Marquette came out, which is from a Canadian company. That got discontinued. Then I used Copics. Didn't really like them, so then I used the chart packs, which I handed around.
Another one.
Yeah.
I recently discovered I don't know, is it called oil stick or?
An oil stick?
No, what are you using for
the color sticks.
Color stick?
Yes.
What base is it? Is it wax?
It's wax-based. Yeah, it's a wax-based stick, which is great. I would not recommend leaving them out in the heat.
And it doesn't smear.
It does not smear. It does not smear or smudge. One thing I do recommend is that you use a foam pad which I believe you can easily get at a craft store, but a foam pad will greatly reduce any type of chalky appearance or texture. One thing that I have found is if you don't use a foam pad, when you apply the color, it looks very grainy and it doesn't look that attractive and the blending is not as strong. But with a foam pad and maybe 2 or 3 sheets of buffer,
Yeah.
you can get some really effective blending.
Okay.
There are some artists out there that do highly illustrated quality drawings and renderings with just color sticks. There are 2 guys. If you haven't heard of them, I urge you to check them out. Their names are Sean Gardner and Nick Mitchell. They do zombie caricatures, and if you see some of their work, not only is their exaggeration just beautiful, but their blending, their color theory, the way they blend everything together just looks absolutely beautiful. And it's all color sticks, all Prismacolor. It's amazing, really cool. Okay, I'm here. Anyone? Yes, sir.
Me?
Yeah, you.
You have a sort of an amount of time when you're sitting down doing caricatures that what's your tolerance level? Like how many hours can you go straight before you?
Oh, yes. Well, here's the thing. One thing I make sure to communicate with every client is that I need an allotted break. So when I do a live event, for example, I try to take a 15-minute break every 3 hours. That way I can kind of, regroup. One thing I have found is that the first thing to go is my eyes. That's the first thing to go. Like, my hand hurts like hell. My shoulder's really killing me, but my eyesight, when I'm too busy focusing back and forth all the time, my eyes get really strained. So when I'm at an event, I do a 15-minute break every 3 hours, and then when I'm doing retail, which is very rare nowadays, I usually try to take a half-hour break every 4 hours. But the longest I've ever drawn in an event nonstop is probably 9 hours. And that was a digital event for a company called Coraid in New York City. And I think that day I drew 70 faces. Yeah, it was a marathon.
I hope they fed you while you were.
They fed me well, they paid me well, they flew me out and gave me a free hotel, so I can't complain. Took me to a Brazilian steakhouse and I was a happy man. Yes?
You mentioned, I think he's called Lar de Souza.
Yeah, Laura.
He does Looking for Group or something like that. I think that's an online comic.
Yes.
Or he does a panel every day.
Yes, it's an online comic called The Least I Could Do.
Yeah.
And Lar de Souza has become a very renowned comic artist because of that comic. But if you go to any of the comic book conventions in the States, he's usually got a table and he's got all these fans. It's amazing. Like,
does he do any caricature or
Yeah.
only his? Okay.
no, he still does. He still draws caricatures live at events in Toronto when he has time. And he comes to our convention every year. He's actually been a mainstay at our convention for well over 10 years. But it's just his chance to hang out with his people, But one thing I found is that I know a few illustrators, I know a few people that might not even be in the world of caricatures professionally anymore, and they still find that one of their greatest escapes and their greatest challenges to help them grow is to jump back into the live environment every now and then. Because you have to think on your toes, you don't have much time to analyze, and you just have to go for it. And then it reflects in their illustrations. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyone else? All right, well guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the event. I can't wait to dive back in and start drawing with you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.